Yo, call me a Sonic Dream the way this Lincoln is a theme. Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to the Game Skits. Today, and only today, we are here, that's right, to check out your dream ideas for a Sonic game. So what I did today is I actually just made I made a post, on the awful website that is Twitter, and I asked people, hey, show me your ideas. What ideas you got for games? And people turned up. I mean, I got people here making music, showing me art pieces, full-fledged game ideas, and I figured we'd go through a lot of people's entries, read out their ideas, discuss them, and then, obviously in the comment section below, after you subscribe, you can let me know yours. So let's get right into this. Hey man, it's that January drought. We gotta make fun of it, bro, as much as we can. All right, we got 70 Francois over here. Said late to the party, but here's an expansion of a previous idea I had. So choose your bond. Okay, so this is like a Shadow the Hedgehog game. I like this idea already, that you have like a character you can select as your bond. I'm seeing Sage over here, Infinite Commander, Tower, Rouge, Sonic, right? Bonds are new features allowing Shadow to use a special ability once he's established a connection with certain characters. Some of these include a speed boost, new weapons, and cyber energy. Already, I love this idea. This is such a cool idea, kind of like almost taking from Persona a little bit, where like, if you develop a connection with a character, you get like a specific ability in that world. I love this idea, and the idea what Shadow fragments, right? That's hella cool. And then you got, okay, bond unlock, Black Doom, so you'd get the wings, Sage. You get maybe like, oh, that'd be cool if, like, for example, if you establish a connection with Sage, that maybe you got like what's it called, the Psyloop, right, for Shadow, or even potentially a different moveset. I love this. Like, maybe obviously if you got your bond with Sonic, you would potentially get maybe an enhanced spin dash, right? If you were Rouge the Bat, maybe like Shadow unlocks a glide, right? Or the ability to maybe take health from enemies, kind of how like they steal, how Rouge steals. Or like Commander, yeah, would give you access to new weapons. Or Infinite would give you Phantom Ruby, so maybe you can make illusions of Shadow. Like, already this is such an awesome idea, and I would love to see this in the future. We got my goat John Taro. This guy was actually a top contender for our Sonic Talent Show. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Sonic Heroes, but good. So let's check out their idea. All right, so I'm seeing this is the sort of Zenless Zone Zero UI over here. So you've got all your character art pieces, the level 100. Okay, I see you. You're a bit of a gooner, and I respect that, right? So what do you got? Ooh, with the 3 attack moves, and you got obviously the different character spots over here. Shit, man. And then you got Sonic Adventure 2 boss, the Knuckles pick. So, all right, I've actually thought about this a lot, right? How fucked my wallet would be, but how happy I would be, at least in terms of like even content or stuff, if there was a legitimate Sonic gacha game. Like, there have been Sonic mobile games left and right, like Dash and all these things, but I'm almost surprised they have not tapped into that market of like, hey, Sonic 5-star characters, full action units, the sort of open areas you get in a Zenless or a Genshin. There was rumors like a long time ago that like they were hiring for a team to work on like an open world mobile Sonic game, but I don't know if it ever came to fruition. But like, on paper, I love this idea because, again, like, this is just endless content, and you'd get such crazy, beautiful animations and supers, and you'd get like the cool character intros and videos. Like, I love this idea, John Toro. I'm with you. All right, what do we got here? We got Rene Macalard. So a Sonic Metroidvania with environment art like Hollow Knight and Silksong. I unfortunately don't have time to draw the environment due to the occasions, but I've had some work done. Hey, let's check this out. Okay, so you've got like the Sonic default movement here. Hey, you've got, okay, a little duck for him. He's got a little run cycle, and then obviously speed cycle. Dude, I mean, look, I know, what was that game? It was Sonic Boom. It was one of the Sonic Boom, like, 3DS games where, like, it kind of played like a Metroidvania, but I would love, like, a straight-up, full-on Sonic Metroidvania. You know what I mean? Like, I'm talking, like, full, full massive environment where, I get an ability. Suddenly I have the enhanced spin dash where I can break through certain walls, right? Suddenly I have, a new, like the ring toss where I can teleport to different areas, right? Suddenly I have, or even different spots on the map, right? Or suddenly you have, the aiming, homing attack where you can, what's it called? Aim your attack to higher areas. Like, this is obviously a genius idea, and I mean, I still think we are lacking in a hand-drawn Sonic department. Obviously, with a game like Sonic Mania, yeah, like the sprites are obviously drawn, but you know what I mean, like a 2D hand-drawn style Sonic game would still go hard. And I would love if they invested in it. So good stuff for you today. I love this idea. I love this. Ooh, let's see. We got Kingdom Crow Zero. I didn't get much time to polish them, but here are mine. 2 scenarios and 2 games. So let's check this out. So totally not Mephiles. We've got scenario 1, a supersonic titan fight wherein the final enemy isn't some giant that's the size of Gaia, but someone Sonic's size. Basically the final fight of Sonic Movie 3, but with some fire music in the background. I've talked about this a lot, right? And we've all kind of, spitballed this idea. We need rival battles back. Right, and I would love, I'm with you, the spectacle of Frontiers boss fights, but with a actual legitimate rival fight would be so awesome. And you kind of got a bit of a taste of that in Sonic Shadow Gens, right? When Sonic and Shadow were having the fight against each other. But that was pure cutscene, right? That wasn't actually like a fight. But I love the idea there, like going from fight to cutscene transition. I'm 100% with you. This needs to happen, and I would love this to be the direction of the next game. Let me see a screenshot. There's scenario 2. In a moment of desperation wherein Supersonic is struggling, Tails, Knuckles, and Amy come in to help him, and for a brief moment we see all 4 of them in their superforms. I mean, this is hype moments in aura, right? Like we gotta have something like this in the next game. I mean, this is traditional shonen energy, right? Where you have all the protags coming in with their superforms pushing like, like something like that would be so awesome. I love your idea here. And then, oh, you've got a game idea. Let's see. Game idea 1, a Sonic card game that got arena fighter elements integrated into it. Kind of like a mix of Dissidia FF and Chain of Memories. The world would be nearly the same as Riders. Story would be among the lines of Sonic friends get invited to join the games. In the meantime, Sonic inadvertently dives into a rabbit hole, uncovering the dark secrets of the system and its creator. Okay, so you're kind of drafting a Kingdom Hearts idea here. Like, for those of you that have not seen Chain of Memories, this is kind of how the combat is, where you're moving around and you're selecting cards to attack. And honestly, I kind of agree with this because I feel like, people always want a Sonic RPG, right? Like, that's always like high on the menu, the thing that people really, really want. But I do think with Sonic, it's such a high speed and action-based series that you would want to incorporate movement and action in some way. You know what I mean? So I understand what you're going for here. And I think it makes sense if they were going to do an RPG to go with a route where you could still move around. All right, and you got game idea 2 here. This is like an umpteen time I'm using nearly 4-year-old drug. Hey, man, I respect it. Sonic card. So clearly you're a big like RPG guy. But to go more in depth, the story would be that 2 worlds collide because of one of Eggman's ideas going wrong. Time has also become a little bit funky. Sonic's side of the world is now all split the same way the Disney worlds are, while Sonic and Co go through multiple places in order to restore things. Sora's group would be on a journey to find Sonic. They encountered Eggman that straight up lied to them. Eggman and Amy end up in the cage side of the new verse. Eggman basically lays low as he encounters, studies, and eventually becomes one with darkness. And Amy gets so deeply ingrained to the cage side to the point where it seems like she's always been part of it. Retains her memories though, goes on a solo journey to restore things. Sonic's gummy ship sections would be boost levels, some new and old enemies like Neo, Metal, or even Infinite. I could go on and on. I love this idea. Obviously, again, you clearly just love Kingdom Hearts, and I really respect that. And yeah, I mean, again, a Sonic game going in the JRPG route feels like it's inevitable. I would love to see like Atlas, like what would Atlas's take on a Sonic JRPG be, or even like RGG Studios, right, with the Yakuza games. Like they've like sort of tried, action games with RPG elements. I feel like they could do a really damn good job. Jamu over here says an RPG. You just got traditional Persona 3 here, with the gunshot. I mean, yeah, we just kind of talked about this, but I would love this homing attack. Like I said, Atlas working on a Sonic RPG feels like it's one of those inevitabilities. I feel like it's going to happen one day, or the conversations are gonna brew at some point. I go plus Sonic Real says a Sonic rhythm game for a franchise known for its incredible music. I'm surprised they have never taken advantage of this. Bishop Runner is a perfect example of what a Sonic rhythm game could be. Yeah, I agree with you. Obviously, like this is not like a fully made thing for this thing, which is fine. But I've always been on your side, dude. Like the fact that we don't have a Sonic rhythm game is criminal. I mean, like legitimately, like so many, like Kingdom Hearts has gotten rhythm games. Obviously, you have Miku with rhythm games. You've even had Nintendo tap in with like Mario DDR. You've had even Pokemon Company try like a rhythm game with Harmonite. Like the fact that Sonic, like the zenith of video game music, even like Final Fantasy has had stuff like theater rhythm. Like it is genuinely a crime that a series that literally has had an incredible symphony run has not had a proper rhythm game, and I feel like this is all you need. You just need run, jumps, slides, you know, tap into the music, and everyone would be happy. So please Sega, lock in. Starscream Killer following up with the same thing. Yep, not an artist, but we need a Sonic rhythm game so bad. I'm with you, dude. Miju says it will never happen, but obviously Sonic and Kirby crossover. This would be really cool. Like, it's funny looking back about the Wii U era, where actually, funny enough, Sonic and Nintendo's relationship was stronger than ever, right? They had the 3-game deal with the Wii U, right? You know, with Sonic Boom being exclusive to Wii U and Nintendo products. You even had, you know, the Legend of Zelda levels in Lost World, as well as a Yoshi level. You had the Sonic Mii costume in Mario Kart 8, obviously Sonic and Smash. Like, there was a massive relationship between them in the Wii U era. So had this been, you know, 10 years ago, this maybe might have been a closer reality than we think, but I feel like now more than ever, it feels like they're splitting off, which makes me upset because, you know, the Sonic and Nintendo synergy feels like it makes a lot of sense. But yeah, this is a great idea. Ooh, Laza says, I need a JRPG, turn-based action sandbox. I don't care. I'd like to imagine a theme like this. Oh, what you got? RPG save select. Hey, I don't know if you made this for that. Maybe you did. But yeah, I mean, again, we kind of just talked about it, so I don't want to hamper too much. But yeah, please, Sega, Sonic, we need an RPG. Right now, granted, like, Sonic Frontiers kind of has RPG elements with, like, the leveling up and the moveset. So I think that's how they're going to continue the foray of, like, RPGing Sonic. But yeah, I get what you mean, man. This shit is a good idea, bro. And I like this song. Hey, yeah, check out Lazaruson's post if this is their song. We got Hasa Gay over here. Shout out, bro. This one's pretty cool. Ring Bar Goes Crazy, art by me. So, okay. So it's a base Sonic fight. I can see the super over here. I can't really tell what I'm fighting. I can see like a stretched out, crazy version of Eggman. Isn't Eggman stomping the ground? Is that his leg? Jesus Christ. Okay, like Eggman enhanced to like a giant maybe mech ability would be cool. A hand-to-hand Eggman fight where Eggman's the one that's enhanced would kind of go crazy. Hey, we got Lily over here. Crystal saying, here's a quick sketch. Besides a mainline Silver game, I'd love to just race around Angel Island with a mix of Crossroads and Riders type gameplay. Yeah, this is a great idea. You know, obviously, it's funny. Silver's not in the one here, but speaking of racing, is we just got Mario Kart World, where I feel like Riders game with an open world would be super sick. You know what I mean? Just like being able to ride around an entire world doing the extreme gear tricks and ideas. Obviously, you know, don't suffer the same fate as Mario Kart's open world. Have actually challenges and maybe a story to prompt it all up. But yeah, of course, I mean, I would die for this. Damn, we got Brother Nicky saying, here's my battle concept for a 2-phase Sonic fighting game. Okay. So you've got the collection aspect over here. Hold on. What do you got? So in collection, dash around an open zone, right? Rings decrease damage taken during brawl phase. The more rings you hold, the less damage your opponent deals you, 20 per rings. Items are tools used in brawl that can change the fate of victory. Okay. They can only be used once and are temporarily once they're used. So gain rings, 1.5 damage, go super. Okay. Damn. You thought this out, best team. I like that. And lastly, you can lose rings and items from enemies or your opponent attacks. Stay cautious or go on the offensive. Do what you must to coax victory to your whims. When time runs out, oh shit, battle phase 2 begins. Bruh. Okay, so this is a little bit of like a city trial almost. Oh, you got the Sonic versus Knuckles here. That's kind of fire. Unfortunately, I believe that's the time I have for this concept for now. Okay. Hope you like the idea. All right, so you basically want a city trial, but you know, the outcome is a fighting game. I love that. I love that idea. If anything, I'm kind of upset that I didn't think about that. You know what I mean? Like an actual full city trial like thing for Sonic. Oh God, my camera is in the mood. Sorry about that. Yeah, a full like city trial kind of thing would actually go kind of hard for Sonic. I really like that idea. Good shit, dude. I like that. Good job, brother Nick. I knew you had it in you. Doodle Cube says, I have an idea for an Amy spin-off game that takes place post Frontiers. Could have a slightly cozy vibe and fast-paced gameplay with mechanics involving her tarot card. So tarot cards used for stages and completing quests, different stage path routes depending on the card chosen. Complete side quests by helping other characters. Stamina bar filled for number of cards used in stages. Switches between 3D and 2D platforming can change based on her chosen route. 3D gameplay similar to Frontiers and Final Horizons. Obviously, you know, Amy is such a cool character, and I feel like, you know, there's a lot more you can do with her that I think Sega doesn't, sadly, right? Like, but I like this idea that, you know, tarot cards are sort of like, you know, are different routes and maybe items you could use for these. Like, I like, you know, obviously I want Amy to keep her hammer, but leading into the tarot cards and kind of using them as like quest measurers, right? Like, you know, deciding your fate, what you're gonna end up doing in the world is actually like a really good idea. Oh damn, we got Petsy over here, a crack ship Sonic game between Sonic and Surge, focusing on speed and fast reaction. Also, Knuckles is in there. Some content are prone to change. Let's check out your idea. So you got Surge over here, you've got like full health meters, Sonic showtime. Damn, I love this. Let's get sparking. Ready, set, spark. Ooh, and then obviously, you know, you have like your stage start ideas, your ratings at the end of them. And then, wow, look at that, bro. Christmas Island, County, Jolly Peach Zone. You've got like each of their tour licenses. Perfect Sour Step, finish main story. Save Surge, a Sonic Tour, finish main story. Have 4 or more S, A, or B ranks. Surge, Rocky Tour, finish main story. Damn, this is a really good idea that you've got cooking over here. Like, I almost would like if we got a new Sonic Rush game and it was like Sonic and Blaze, like or Sonic and Surge. That's kind of a good idea to continue the Rush games and have that sort of quick movement. And yeah, like obviously all Sonic games are sort of reaction based, but I would like the idea of a very like reaction based. Like you are really on the move and it is memorizing. Like, all right, jump here, do this, go over here. Like I really fuck with this idea heavy. So good on you for coming up with this. Forget me not, save Surge, forget memories, finish main stories. I like also the idea of having these achievements of different licenses and all that. Good shit on this. I would love this. Enchilad says, years ago I drew up a bunch of concept for a Sonic and Mario crossover game that was kind of like an adventure-esque game with different gameplay styles and like a Chao Luma garden. I only have the logo concept. I have no idea where the drawings get. Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this a lot, you know, throughout the history of Sonic, and everybody's always had this idea. If you're like a Sonic fan, this idea has popped in your head once or twice in your life. The idea of a Mario and Sonic actual platformer would just be so cool, dude. Like, I would love to see that happen eventually. You know, Sonic Team has even disclosed the idea that they'd love to do it, but they want to be at the level of Mario before like tackling something like this. But again, always gonna be the dream. Lalo Terry, you got the idea right in my head. A Sonic beat 'em up. Sonic Strife. Sonic Strife is a beat 'em up Sonic video game featuring a wide variety of Sonic characters. Up to 4 players can play simultaneously and enjoy the thrill of high speed combat. Yeah, no, I'm with you, dude. This is what I'm waiting for, man. And I feel like it's a matter of when Dotemu and Sega get together. I actually remember I replied to Dotemu with, you know, a post being like, please, Dotemu, which are the guys who make like TMNT, and they do what's called the Marvel Cosmic Invasion game. They do a lot of the sprite-based, like massive side-scroller beat-em-ups. Please work with Sonic. You know, some Sonic modern sprites would go incredibly hard, or even if it was a hand-drawn style, and people would eat that shit up. Please. Justin M here saying, this borders on essentially is a fan game territory, but my affection for it is because I want to see something adjacent to it. So we got Sonic Renegade, which I like this this double spark thing you've got going on with Sonic. So there's a whole thread you've got. Basically, you could say it's Sonic Unleashed successor fan game idea I've been having in my head for a while. Eggman awakens another evil lunacy, a god of chaos, and bringing to light your most extreme version of yourself without restrictions and suppression the contents of your character, resulting in a varied amount of transformations of the main cast that you'd have to reform along the way. In this case, Sonic pulls a Sonic in that his transformation is literally just a separate person he occupies in the same body with, rather than being one in the same. A version of himself that's a bit more unruly, a bit more brash, a bit more on the edge, all about the thrill in a bigger level than Sonic neglecting the golden heart aspect that our Sonic still has. So it's kind of like a buddy cop aspect of Sonic occupying the space with a more loose cannon version of himself fixing things. Oh, this is awesome. This is such a smart idea. I cannot stress enough how cool of an idea this is. Like having like all of the characters have basically like the extreme versions of themselves as villains or other version characters is so sick. You even have the art for them over here. The gameplay switch, I'd imagine, is kind of your usual Sonic 3D gameplay, bit of combat exploration with the transformation side of things. I've always liked the idea of exploring that big speedster trait of slowing down time because of how fast you're going. But also, with this being the wilder side of Sonic, you just do unhinged animalistic shit. Burrow into the ground and funnel your way into areas. Special attacks where it's just the press of a button of ground enemies can combust in a blink of an eye. This is awesome. I love this. This is such a cool, unique idea for the series that I don't think they'd ever even do this because of how dope it is. But yeah, having extreme versions of all the characters is genius. I love good shit, Justin. Sonic fan film hype. I'd say it's pretty self-explanatory if you read my username. From concept art to scenes, it's been a real dream bringing this project to life, and I can't wait to show you all when it's complete. So, all right, you're just kind of, you're making life happen. You're making your dreams come true, and I respect it, dude. I respect it, man. I hope this comes through. Does making the game work too? Sonic fighting here is king of the ring. You're just too slow, and you've got, you know, Sonic fighting heroes. God, man, the things I would do for a legit Sonic fighting game, I really would do nasty things in this world to get this done. You know, I would eat a few people just to get it done, please. I go Podjamate says a Tales solo game. It would be a short side game in between major releases. Basically a 3D puzzle platformer similar to Tales Adventure, but a lot more fast paced. You can go to Tales Workshop in between levels to make an upgrade or machines that can help you in certain areas. I like the idea of giving Tales more love, you know, and I think once the Sonic brand is like a little bigger, I think we can go back to giving more character spin-offs. Like, I'm with you, like maybe an eShop only $20 game, like digital only $20 Tales game where it is like just a puzzle platformer where, you know, you solve things by building stuff, or, you know, maybe it's all puzzle based, different levels, you know, you maybe it's an auto mover where Tails moves every time he solves one of the puzzles. Like, I think giving Tails more love at tapping more into the mechanics side of and puzzle side of the series is a great idea. If not in the next 3D Sonic game, when you have Tails playable, have him solve more puzzles. Hey, we got Josh the Maker over here saying, seeing the rival interactions and crossroads got me low-key itching for a Sonic fighting game. Whether it's a traditional 3v3 or 2D fighter or a Tenkaichi-esque 3D fighter, they would cook hard with the material they got. Yep, I'm with you, man. 2D or 3D. And dude, could you imagine the smack talk that would come from a fighting game? Like, there was already some great smack talk in Sonic Racing Crossroads, but the idea of having them in this game, like, you never learn your lesson. Which on which one of us is stronger? Do you, faker? Guess I'll have to teach you again. It's funny how you still think we're equals. I'll prove to you just how far I surpass you. Blue Hedgehog. And there's like the Dream Rush. So yep, again, I'm with you, man. You can make it 3v3. Would you guys want a fighting game to be 3v3, or would you want it to be 1v1? I kind of lean on 1v1 because, like, 3v3 fighters, while really hype, take so much more learning, whereas I really would like to just, you know, have a main, stick to it and learn it. Maybe you could have a character as an assist, but that's it, like one assist and that's all. All right, next up we got Jonah Coffee, my go. A multiplayer Sonic game that translates classic gameplay into 3D with 8 playable characters, 7 zones, and silly minigames. So this is Sonic Iki Oi. I mean, I love this, man. The fact that we haven't gotten another attempt at like a Sonic party game is foul. Right? Jump, air dash, spin dash roll. I like this, man. Just a simple moveset for like something like this, a multiplayer Sonic game. I mean, it's funny. You're saying like a classic 3D game. I'm thinking, I don't know why I said party, but party came to mind for me. But I like this idea, you know, like maybe something that is small scale, like almost like a 3D world-esque, but for Sonic, right? Where you could have multiple playable characters running around. Like that's like one thing we're kind of lacking, right? Like with Rumble, we have like, you know, 3D competitive, right? With, you know, Spin Dash, you have, you know, the forward lane movement. With Crossroads, you have a racing, but we don't really have like a playable, fun environment. I guess you could argue Sonic Speed Simulator is that, but that's kind of like a lot, whereas like a little bit more smaller scale, concentrated levels with some fun moveset aspects, and you know, a real multiplayer together experience could really go hard. So I love this idea, dude. Sonic Monochrome by Oddball. Sonic Monochrome, a borderline 3D platformer fan game with more monotone color scheme in a city setting. A random dream and a random idea I came up with when I was bored. Okay, so maybe like, you know, more chilled out colors. Maybe the more you do in the world, the more colors like could fill up. I kind of like that idea. Well, we got Quill over here saying game story idea. Terios, the long lost ULF prototype before Shadow, comes back to haunt our cast and heroes in a frantic search for an ancient relic beyond belonging to Black Doom, which threatens the entire world. So, okay, the idea of bringing Terios, you know, which is Shadow's original design, as a actual character is a good idea. Who are you? Didn't Shadow tell you about me? I am the ultimate life form. I like that idea. You know, like with Terios, it's weird. Like it's one of those things they brought as a costume, so they've finally acknowledged Terios, which is like a really cool idea. But yeah, making him a new character, which like, hey, this was the original, maybe even by Gerald, like the original Shadow prototype, would be really fucking cool to bring in. Hey, we got James Potter here saying, not an artist, so I'll just use visuals. Open zone, hub worlds, 3D and 2D levels, primarily inspired by Dream Team Adventure, Speed Simulator, and Shadow Gens. Unique and creative environments, item boxes, new elemental shields, multiple playable characters. So these are images are grabbed from like different projects. You know, this is sort of simple. I like the idea of this, but yeah, open zone ups. I mean, this kind of to me just sounds like what Frontiers 2 should be anyways. My dude Combi over here said, I already made it. It kind of looks like this. So what's your idea over here? Okay. So you've got aerial garden zone for this is, what game is this again? This is Sonic Roboblast. I mean, yeah, like Roboblast is obviously like a big playground for a lot of this stuff. But I mean, look, I think this is, again, this kind of ropes back to the idea of like what a Frontiers 2 should be like, you know, more open, fun, movement-based environments. Oh, we've got Fort Nathaniel G. Butworth, crazy name. Recently, I've been wanting to make a fan game with visuals inspired by early Pixar and DKC. It could be about anything, really, just something that sets a certain mood and magic like those inspirations can. Yeah, this sort of like, what do you even call this? This like early 2000s, like where like 3D models look kind of scuffed, but interesting. Like I like the concept of this, right? And bringing this to Sonic would make sense. I mean, Sonic shares this look in like something like a 3D Blast or something, right? But not to the extent, you know, fully utilizing that art style. But I feel like, yeah, there's a lost look that we don't get. And I hope one day this becomes retro where people kind of look forward to seeing it again. We got Crispy over here saying, I feel like a fun concept would be a Sonic game based around using elements in a way similar to the Wisp or something like the gems from 06. Yeah, so maybe like a more item-based Sonic game. I don't know what you guys think about that, because like Colors was sort of the real true test of a modern Sonic game that really relied on power-ups, right? And you had Sonic Superstars that, you know, implemented them. But I would like, it would be fun to see a Sonic game where like you really needed certain power-ups for like, you know, environmental hazards to break and open. Like if you got the firepower in an open world, you could finally break through a wall. That would be really cool. Obviously, you have different paths you can access in a game like Sonic Colors, but I like the idea of, you know, a bit more of a reliance on maybe different abilities you can swap to, kind of like in Superstars, but maybe have the abilities be a bit more useful. To bring out the old art for this, maybe I should remake it of a percentage chance to get a retweet and a follow. You can do a, well, what am I looking at? What are you telling me about? You know, what am I looking at over here? I guess this is sort of like rankings for classic Sonic games. I actually would like if they had added that to Sonic Origins, where like if you beat certain levels at certain ranks, you would get like an actual ranking. That'd be cool. Higher says, we're creating a fan game that's designed based on Sonic's early ideas and old characters. More information to come later. So you got Twin Stars. Okay, sort of that old look, you know, Sonic's old initial concept girlfriend with some of the old concept, hers parents, some of that old school look. Okay, I'll be curious to see what this is like. But you know, leaning into more of Sonic prototypes ideas and even just like fan ideas is never a bad idea. Stardust says, my stupid chud Shadow Storybook game. God, bro, Shadow Samurai Storybook game, a little bit more of a darker thematic style would kind of go out. And we've gotten artwork as Shadow as like, you know, a samurai before, so it wouldn't be like, you know, too much of a crazy stretch. But I love this idea, man. I really fuck with this idea. Sort of like the third storybook game in there. Obviously, you know, nowadays with how much Shadow gets, I know some people would be like, enough of Shadow. But, you know, if they were gonna do a third storybook game and Shadow maybe has like a mask like this that shows up as like Black Doom energy, or the Doom wings of some kind, would be so sick. Sonic and the Pandora Trials, the third entry in the storybook series. It's funny how some of these people did this in a row. Focus around Greek mythology, right? This is, yeah, basic plot revolves around Pandora opening the box and releasing all the evils of the world, with Sonic being brought in by Hope in to help fight off said evils. Sonic brings in hope not just to the people with taking on the evils, but also the perpetually pessimistic Pandora and people's hopes not being under thrall and whims of gods constantly. Pandora being essentially a goth girl, extremely pessimistic, believing she should be judged and punished for doing such horrible, irredeemable stuff, and Sonic helping change her viewpoint. Sonic, since that's naturally what he does. Upon hearing about this, the gods decide to put a curse on Sonic for trying to help Pandora out by trapping him into the realm, and also putting a curse on him, also known as the Evil Eye. The curse causes Sonic to have extreme headaches, dizziness, and being physically weak. To help combat this, Pandora's gift Sonic a necklace with the symbol of the Evil Eye as a means of protection from the curse's effects. Moveset involves stuff you'd expect: boost, light, speed, stomp, slide, quick step, wall jump. Gameplay is similar to what you've seen on Unleashed and Gens. Okay, much like Unleashed, the boost gameplay segment, collected rings, not only adds to another segment, but also fills up the bar, along with doing stuff like defeating enemies. And then you would have, like, you know, your press square, double tap when the boost is full, be mindful. As it fills up, you'll start rapidly losing rings, your vision will become blurry, and your speed will become diminished. I like this idea, man. To prevent this to the level, you could collect charms. Along these charms can then be deposited at checkpoints represented by the statue of Pandora as you run past it to make the meter go down. Any excessive amount will go towards filling the boost. I love this idea, man. I've championed that one day we'd get more of storybook games by Sega. Again, it's tough because I don't know if they would ever do it, right? I don't know if they will ever do a third storybook game, just because, like, the storybook games I feel like are something that we, the fans, really care about, but it seems like critic wise and sales wise they do not do great, and so it's always hard to justify, like, well, what do we do with this? Now, granted, they have represented those things in different mediums. Like, you know, obviously we've had Excalibur's sword show up in stuff like Sonic Rumble or Sonic Dash. Like, there's acknowledgement that people do like those things, so it's not completely lost in the box or the nether, but hopefully one day we get more. New classic Sonic game with both 2D and 3D acts, new zones, every established playable character from Mania and Superstars plus Honey, only one boss per zone, and unlockable costumes within the game over. So you're taking, like, a few fan tidbits. I like the idea of exploring classic Sonic in 3D, almost like, again, we talked about this earlier, 3D world with classic Sonic could kind of work, because then you have a bit more of, like, the slower paced movement of a 3D world, but you don't lose too much. Like, I think, like, this environment, right, and this kind of movement is perfect for classic Sonic. This is obviously Penny's Big Breakaway, which was made by the Mania devs. And so, like, yeah, game like this, I feel like you could have multiple playable characters. Again, the problem with multiplayer in Sonic is just you inherently do run into the issue, especially in a 3D game, of, like, it's a speed-based game, and so how do you share that amongst people? I guess, like, if you did it online, it would be easier because you don't have to refocus the camera. But local would be difficult, but maybe you wouldn't have local. And I would kind of respect that decision. Like, hey, we can't really do local co-op because the camera would be an issue. Whereas at least if we do, like, an open 3D environment where friends can run around, we can maybe, make it work. I would love a Sonic action RPG similar to Kingdom Hearts, because Kingdom Hearts was never happening, so I made concept HUDs. Yeah. Obviously, a cool dynamic HUD for a Sonic RPG would be great. We talked about it a little bit earlier. What do we got? We got Dongle over here, Archie Dank. Okay, really quick. A game where in a scripted fight, when Sonic loses all his rings, he looks extremely exhausted at the camera viewer and takes a deep breath, turns away and smiles, brushes his nose off and chuckles here, remarks, "All right, egghead, give me your best shot." Then cliffhanger. Sort of like to expand on this, Shadow Gens did a lot of this with the Shadow Gens DLC, and even like Shadow Generation in general, where you had different rankings, and they brought back, like, having different animations for these. But I did feel like the Shadow Gens DLC, like the Keanu stage, put that level of extra work in the ranking, you know, where like they had completely different like animations and camera dynamics for each ranking in that. And I would sort of love that to continue on for later games. But yeah, I like the idea of a scripted fight where Sonic loses and seeing that dynamic movement. That's kind of fire. Oh, this is so cute by Star Turbo. Was gonna make something proper for this, but I'm not quite sure where to go with it, and there isn't a ton of time. So here's a Sonic sprite. I like the Sonic sprite. Give me more Sonic sprites. I want the next Sonic game. We got Luke over here saying, I want the next Sonic game to have secret final levels for 100%ing it, where you transition and visit stages through Sonic history in celebration for the 35th anniversary. I can't code nor draw, nor very good, so copy pasting images into documents is the best I got. Hey man, nah, that's fire. I like this idea. So you basically want like an anniversary level comp where it would go from Sonic, Sonic CD, Sonic 2, Sonic 3, a level medley have you. I would love that. You know, if anything, a celebration game would be a lot. I would almost rather, yeah, give me a celebration medley level, right? Where it just goes through, you know, best of. It's like a really big level that they work really hard on to have a bunch of places you go to. So secret final level for completing the game, kind of like Champions Road for 3D World. Warp Rings will take it to different levels across the series, like in Crossroads. Each section will last about 30 seconds to about a minute. It'll be extremely difficult, long, no checkpoints, and will be the ultimate test for all your skills you've gotten learned together. Each level section gets new orchestrated remix that transitions seamlessly into another. I want the stage to be grand and beautiful. Beautiful way to celebrate Sonic's 35th anniversary. I love this idea. We haven't really talked about this, you know. I feel like this idea has never really been brought up in this way. This is awesome to me. A level medley instead of like another celebration gamer thing is such a cool concept. I fuck with that extremely heavy. We've got Norded Wayfinder saying Sonic Dream Game rhythm platform. I've been working bit by this animated concept for over a year. I want a Sonic rhythm game so bad. Yep. I mean, again, we talked about this earlier, but please, dude. Oh my God. You put this in my mind and now I'm going to be upset if it doesn't happen. But it would be so good, dude. It would just be so good, bro. Please make this happen. I need this now. Oh, we got Siski saying, excuse my bad doodling. No, don't worry about it. I was thinking of a game where there isn't some sort of disaster. Heavily inspired by the Sonic channel art where we see what the characters do off camera. Also something similar to an Animal Crossing, and you play as Amy Rose and a ton of Blaze Dimensions. So I must ingest so much food at a time. I mustn't. There's already been a modest increase in my weight since our last meeting. And then, you know, you have scenarios here where it's like, Rouge told me there was a new pastry with coffee. Is it still up for sale? And then you have, you know, some romantic moments. You know, I like the idea. Again, this is something I'd like to see once we've had Sonic at its full potential and we're safe and they have a lot of money. I would love a chill Sonic game. Like one where, like you said, it is a little bit Animal Crossing-like, but it's not random, you know, OC characters. It is the cast, right? And you know, you go visit Amy at the bakery. You know, you have scenarios with Shadow and Amy, or even maybe like another a visual novel style like Murder of Sonic, where it is like a visual novel, but maybe you have 3D environments you can walk around in and go see what everyone's doing. I like the simple concept. Compulsive Fight says, I'd love to see a hypothetical Sonic battle too. Yep. Whoa, what's this by Radical Ashley? Drew these a while ago, and while I haven't thought of them too much since I would love to see a game where Sonic travels through either his own dreams or a dream world that exists on its own with enemies and locations that don't have to adhere to typical formats. Let me tell you about Sonic Dream Team. No, but I like this idea, tapping into the weirdness of Sonic and the franchise and all that, right? You know, what is this? One eye or not meaning a person who's able to travel through their own dreams and a conscious bias. Interesting. All right, if you notice I'm in a different outfit, it's because my house flooded for a bit. Hey everybody, guys. But yeah, let's keep going over here. So we got my goat Fire Shadow over here saying my idea for a Sonic fighting game. It's a platform fighting game that features up to 8 players fighting each other in various Sonic-themed stages. It acts as a spiritual successor to Sonic the Fighters, but with the depth of Smash Bros. So you've got like a nice box art style of. I always love the idea of like the split character thing. I feel like it doesn't work as well with Sonic characters just because like the quill shapes are so different. But I love the vision. You know what I mean? And then you've got a roster. I love that over here. You know, I see some special characters or DLC characters making your picks. You've got the stage now, dude. Here's a full look of Marine. Thank you for putting Marine in there, my goat. Here's my thing, right? I've said this before. I think if you were to do a Sonic fighting game, I feel like there's a lot of options you can go with, right? But ideally a platform fighter or an arena fighter makes the most sense, because like Sonic is a series about speed, right? You know, even though Sonic the Fighters back in the day was like a really solid fighting game, I do feel like it didn't really feel like Sonic, you know what I mean? And I feel like you would want to have character speed showcased in some way. Now, granted, again, you don't have to have these characters running like crazy fast boost formula, but at the very least, you'd want space for them to move around the way you would expect a Sonic character to move around. You know what I mean? And then you've got like, you know, the percentages. I see all this. You got the telekinesis abilities. Is it telekinesis? Is that the word? You know what I mean? But you've got the abilities here. I like where your head's at though, Fire Shadow. This is exactly what I would love to see. Hearth over here saying, can we please talk about Blaze still having Iblis sealed within her eye? I'm begging. That is kind of true, right? That is like a random thing about Sonic 06 that, like, you know, with obviously how many retcons and issues 06 has, this is something that I feel has now been like fully addressed. And obviously, you know, I like the idea, maybe, you know, taking them in, right? Look, neither of us want this, but I need you and you need me. Can we please agree to peace? That would be sick. I mean, obviously, Blaze is a character we all love and would love to see expanded on. So a game maybe exploring the fact that Iblis is in her soul, right, would be really cool. But obviously, no matter what, I would take more Blaze content in a heartbeat. My goat simply Baldic says Sonic X Chainsaw Man. Yeah, that'd be a cool idea. I don't know how it would work, right? Because there's such egregiously different franchises, right? You know, you've got like hyper violent, right, with a lot of, you know, sexual and mature themes type shit with Chainsaw Man, and then you got Sonic, which is a little bit more user, you know, people friendly. But the idea of maybe, you know, maybe like a crossover, a gacha game or something could be cool. Oh my god, seemingly good over here with a beautiful art piece. I'd love to see a low poly remake of Sonic 3D Blast with levels redesigned to encourage exploration and momentum based gameplay. First of all, art piece is fantastic. I already retweeted it, thankfully. This is awesome, right? I love the idea because, you know, old school Sonic kind of has this look and feel, you know, more greenery, you know, more environmentalist style things. And so if they were to explore, you know, a 3D Blast remake with some sort of exploration, it'd be really cool. Like, I would be down, right, for like a 1 to 2 hour Sonic game where it's like, hey, here's like this one really pretty environment we've made. Go run around it. It's a fun playground. Lock it. Now, granted, that's probably what we want out of the next mainline Sonic game, right? But I like this idea of, hey, 3D Blast getting a remake, you know, here's like a small vertical slice kind of experience. I love that. Ooh, just a guy named Sanson. I've always wanted a new 2D Sonic animated series, something that creates its own continuity while using previous elements from the franchise, TFA, TMNT, DuckTales 17. But I also love the idea of a spin-off series from the Psy movie. So you've got, you know, your character sheets over here, which I really like. You know, you've got Psy doing his movement. Look, dude, I am absolutely with you. I want a Sonic animated series so badly, right? Like, that's just, it feels like it's the dream. It feels like it's the one thing we're missing, you know, because we've got 2D games, we've got 3D games, we've got live action movie, we've gotten like 3D animation, you know, with Sonic Prime, and we've even gotten like the short series on YouTube with stuff like, you know, Shadow Dark Beginnings or the animated opening they did for what's it called? For Sonic Racing Crossroads, right? And they've always been doing 2D animated like intros and stuff for a while, but like we are missing that like 2D fully animated series, and I would love to see that, you know, whether it's on Netflix, whether it's a, you know, a Paramount Plus, or what, it probably would be Paramount Plus. I just feel like that's the one field they're missing in where like they excel so much. I mean, legitimately, like you look at the views of Sonic Mania Adventures or Shadow Gens or, you know, Chad Space or whatever, like they're so high, and it would make sense to do this. Please, Sega. Sea Salt Cosmos here says, I've wanted a Sonic Storybook game that takes place in a Grimm's fairy tale for Sonic. See, that's a good idea. For the longest time, we always hear people kind of give the idea of like, all right, what if we did a, you know, they're always like, oh, let's do Greek mythology, let's do a different mythology, but like a fairy tale book kind of thing would be really cool. You know, you've got like a cursed Sonic. I love that, you know. And then Sonic and the Brothers of Grimm is such a sick idea. So what's your idea? So you got golden goose eggs, grind rails on beanstalks, which would be really sick. Call back to Sonic 06, you know, skill tree a la Frontiers, right? You've got the soul gauge, you know, because Sonic's life is tied to the Grim Rose. The gauge shares a rose motif, you know. Red petals fill the gauge, Snow White rose inspired, white roses insta fill the gauge. Wow, I love this idea. This is awesome. This is absolutely fucking cool, dude. And I think, again, this is the type of shit we want. You know what I mean? We want creative, fun, weird ideas for Sonic that like thrive throughout the series like this. And yeah, like, it would be cool to see a more whimsical take, you know, because obviously the Storybook games so far have been like, you know, darker themes, you know, with like Arabian Nights and obviously like Sonic and the Black Knight. But yeah, something a little bit more like cartoonish, you know, with more fairy tale vibes. Maybe you take inspiration from like the old creepy fairy tales, but Sonicify. This is awesome, Seesaw. Oh, Archie says another vote for a turn-based Sonic with a sword RPG. I need it to be stylized with a cast of interchangeable characters, new world with new lore, and of course a big focus on story. PS, I feel the Storybook games would have been perfect RPGs. This is so cute. The fact that you animated this is awesome. Look at this. Oh my god, this is so cool. You see, the problem is you burned this idea now in my head. Now I'm like, I want this. You know, you have literally ruined my day by being talented because I want this. You know what I mean? Like, why would you do this to me, bro? Look how cool that is. Ah, shit. It's so cute. You got like chibi styles and stuff too. Ah, man. Not really an artist per se, but I kind of want SMBZ inspired series that's basically a subversion. Example, Mario Kart goes to Sonic World instead of vice versa. Now that I think about it, I'm surprised that no one has thought of that. I mean, I think many people have thought about, you know, a potential crossover you know, game of like an actual action game between Sonic and Mario. It's something we talk about a lot of, and yeah, they've said it before. I think they would like to do it, but they just need the right budget, the right time, the right quality. Luna over here says, I'm obsessed with Scourge. I'd love to finally see a story get continued somehow, so I drew him post-lockdown arc design. Yeah, I'm not one for Archie comics. You know, I've joked around about hating them, but I don't really care about them because I didn't grow up reading them. But it would be cool to, you know, grab the best of from those and maybe like give them more potential. You know, obviously you have to deal with Ken Pender characters and what that means and all those things, which is there. But you know, as a solo character, Scourge could do a lot of good. Ooh, what's this, Grape? Unprivated, just to talk about this dream game that explores Team Dark's dynamic open world exploration of the Black Comet, Shadow's relationship to the Black Arms with flashback sequences similar to 05, where we see Doom and Gerald actually creating Shadow. Wow, okay, I like your idea. You've got like the whole character sheet over here. Potential, you know, older looks here with Sonic over here. Well, this is a fun game, but I think we're done here. Thanks to the souvenir, by the way. Damn. And then you've got like creepy designs. I mean, look, I think there's more potential with Shadow. I know people say, you know, with Shadow, we're greedy. Shadow fans get everything. But I do think there's a reason for that. You know, I feel like Shadow has a lot you could do in a game that is purely Team Dark explored. You know, maybe you get a bit of Rouge's past. Maybe you get to see her tap into new abilities as well. And yeah, see, maybe exploring like the Black Comet would be fucking awesome. Shola My Goat said, had this idea for a while, but I would kill for a Sonic game that was all cut and lost levels from past Sonic games, like R2 from Sonic CD as shown here. That's a great idea, Sholov. I mean, I love this. You know, the idea of, hey, all the ideas we had in the past, what if we gathered them into a game and sort of made it, you know, Sonic The Lost Levels? Kind of like I have Mario The Lost Levels, but obviously that game is like difficult as shit. But I would love that, you know, I mean, Sonic, like the idea of a Lost Level style thing for Sonic just bodes well, because yeah, I mean, with any game ever, there's going to be lost concept art that never made it through, and we've had Sonic games that have brought back cut content, you know, like again the mobile ports of Sonic 2, I think, was the one that brought back some of the cut levels, or I think it was Sonic CD, one of those two. But yeah, the idea of bringing out cut levels, please. My good Hookie over here says, I need a Mephiles and infinite interaction desperately. You know, I heard there was a jackal that tried to destroy the world, but foolishly ended up losing. Was it you who facing me right now? Who is this lousy shadow-like thing? How dare you insult me? I have my second agenda in destroying the world. For now, you are the one I'll destroy first. Damn. I mean, yeah, villains interacting a bit more would be kind of cool. I like that idea. Whoa, Joy the Boy says, my dream Sonic game is a hack and slash game using the versions of characters to tell an in-depth story. Shadow would be Gun's new supreme commander, and he believes in protecting all lives no matter what, and Gun's forces have grown to like him in this new leader role. Wow, I love this idea, and I've talked about this before. A Sonic Warrior slash Muso game would go kind of hard. You know, I feel like those guys of all people could be really talented and, you know, and really great at making a Sonic game, you know. And what is this? Trained on Angel Island with Shadow, Knuckles, and Tails for a year. After the year, Tails dropped him at a random location. Sonic ran for an entire year straight without stopping. Wow. Has been eating nothing but fruits and anything he can find while running. Hasn't had a chili dog in 2 years. That's horrible. Don't do that to him. You know, don't make Sonic like that. But damn, that's so sick. Man, the Shadow as a gun commander is kind of a raw concept, right? Trained on Angel Island with Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails for a year. After training, he climbed the ranks at Gun and became Supreme Commander after another year. Has a higher degree of control of his chaos abilities and can now tap into Chaos Force without getting tired. This is so sick, man. Then you've got Knuckles over here, trained on Angel Island with Sonic, Shadow, Tails for a year. After everyone left, he found the portal to Starfall Islands to learn more about the connection between him and the Ancients and the Echidnas. The Echidna tribe recorded data of the strongest warrior in their history, as well as information of chaos energy. Knuckles fought this warrior in cyberspace every day for 6 months until he won, earning the warrior's respect and power. The portal gears on his wrist give him the direct link to cyberspace and the warriors. That's so awesome. This is such a sick concept. That again, the idea of a Sonic action game sounds incredible to me. This kind of role sounds awesome to me, with the characters going on a training arc for a year. Like, seeing a grown-up version of these characters is something that I don't know they'll ever do. Like, I don't think, like, you know, with Frontiers, you could argue they're a little bit more grown up, right? And, you know, they say that at the end of Frontiers, they're each going to go do their own journeys. But the idea of seeing a different power level within these characters over time is awesome. Please do this. We've got a future Psychog said for Silver to have to re-debut game, one that expanded on his psychic abilities instead of just having to pick up stuff and throw them at a portal. You got barrier, spin dash. Yeah, I mean, obviously we all want Silver to be higher than just potential man. All right, let's see. Super cool. Dud says, all right, this is sort of a lot, so I apologize. Don't worry about it. My dream Sonic game is a 3D classic Sonic game in the style of Frontiers loosely. Going into more detail, the game would have a 90s fantasy style that would lean into the surreal aspect of Sonic, right? So you've got the original 3 would be playable off the bat with Amy being unlockable. Pinball physics would be a major focus, of course. The game would be about these rifts in the world, which you could use in combat and travel along different distances. Okay, so you've got momentum-based movement, right? The sound test menu, these rifts, right? The rifts could also have a cool sequence explored in story, something like distorted doubles of characters. The environments would look something like this, taking mundane areas and giving them a fresh coat of paint, right? So, you know, big colors. Shout out to this IDW panel. And finally, unique super forms for each of the characters. Yeah, you know, this is something that we've seen a few ideas of. People actually clearly really like the idea of classic Sonic getting 3D environments, which again, I agree. I think it's a cool idea to give that classic style a 3D world-like game, right? Where, you know, it is a bit, you know, smaller scale. Maybe you've got more colorful old school Sonic environments. I love this. Good shit. Super cool, dude. We've got Archie Dake over here. They kind of split the series within 2 series. Sonic short stories following the advanced classic gameplay loops and having full silliness that's mainly for the mobile scenes. Modern Sonic following the Frontiers formula and expanding it while keeping the story going. So you're just kind of saying what, like, you know, what makes sense for the franchise going forward. I like the idea of, you know, Sonic short stories going for stuff like this. So possible a sort of in-between game that follows in patches, loose continuity, little side stories that aren't too serious, that are set within the modern time frame, different art direction that leads more into softer look, aimed for mobile, Switch, and PC community. The let's go batshit with Sonic silliness, and then Modern Sonic, it's Modern Sonic, more heartfelt, impacting stories, attempting to hit that AAA market. Frontiers like gameplay expanded, aim for everywhere except mobile. Dude, it's so, you know, it's funny, not unfortunate, but like Sonic is a series where people love the game and also the stories. But at the end of the day, it is a video game series through and through. And so it's really hard to want to get so many of these ideas, you know, with factoring development costs. You know, with shows, right, you can have like a movie and then the spin-off series and another spin-off series, then movies, right? Spin-off series, movie, right? But with games, you know, with how long games take to make, with like 3-4 year development cycles, especially with modern video games. It's so much harder to envision a world where we would get some, side games, multiple side games that are in canon and the main games. Obviously support teams and different developers would help that, but it's tough. But again, I like where your head's at. We got Shonkadacious saying, I'm not exactly an artist, but I've had this cute idea for a spiritual Sonic Gen sequel in my mind where it's just cool multiverse plot to give you an experience to play the GOAT, Mr. Hedgehog. Okay, so Sonic Cross Seas over here, Gray, Martin, Sonic. Oh, so you just want to play like as the different Sonic versions over here, right? Began taking over the multiverse after stealing all of Archie's emeralds, now on the way to demolish everything. So you've got Scourge in there. Okay, so you want a little chaos. I respect that. I like where you got Boom Sonic, and then what's that, classic Rankles over here. Okay, you've got some weird ideas. I respect it. We've got Masonia over here saying, I've always wanted a game, maybe an IDW arc where Sonic and Metal somehow swapped bodies, maybe falling into a weird machine of some sort. While they had swapped bodies, Sonic gains more sympathy for Metal and what it's like. Metal doesn't want to go back to being himself. Ooh, a body swap of Metal and regular Sonic would kind of be cool, right? Dang, Metal, is that how you feel? Get back here, AV, please, I swear. Oh, this is such a cool idea. I like the idea of body swap for Metal and Sonic, just to kind of explore having Metal Sonic finally be what he is meant to, surpass, and then Sonic understanding the limitations and the power of Metal. This is good stuff. Sonic team, write this down. Curb says, not exactly my dream side game, but an aesthetic I was playing around with while back as an artist. Yeah, I think we all kind of want this more colorful, old school look for Sonic. It just works better. As much as I love Frontiers, the environments made sense for that story and what they were doing. I do want the next game to go back to like Colors, right? Not Colors, the game, but even then, Sonic Colors aesthetically is incredible. And so like the idea of open zone with Sonic Colors or old school Sonic game type environments is a good idea, man. The game opens with Team Sonic fighting against a new prototype of Eggman using the Master Emerald. Just like in Sonic 3, they managed to beat him using their super form high moments and aura. This prologue teaches you how to play. After that, the Master Emerald cracks out, emerges a monster named Vortex, which they don't know it yet is a monster born from Eggman's overuse of the emeralds and chaos energy and technology. It tracks them all into the portal. Whoa! In the Vortex realm, the goal will be to find one emerald per world and teleport to the next to find them until all 7 are collected. Then search for the Master Emerald and beat this mysterious entity and save Egghead because he's the GOAT. The drawings are quite ass and Russian. The designs are not very inspired, but it's for this vision. Listen, no, I respect where your head's at. I love the idea here, right? A monster that was sort of created because of the overuse of Chaos Emeralds is sick, right? Because they do overuse the Chaos Emeralds, right? And, even in Dragon Ball, they sort of have a plot line like this where, like, how the future Zamasu arc where they're, like, pissed at humans, humans or mortal entities interacting with the gods and, constantly using their powers like it's nothing. So the idea of maybe a being created out of Chaos Emerald's overuse is sick. A Dream Sonic moveset is, my Dream Sonic game is one with a new moveset to get rid of the spin dash, home attack, and the boost. Give him roll, punch, and drive. I was thinking something like Rayman Origins, but in 3D. Yeah, I mean, Rayman Origins movement is super good. But again, this kind of also ties into like the potential Sonic rhythm game we've wanted. You know what I mean? We're just like, give me a rhythm game, man. Just go crazy with it, please. Come on now. Come on, bro. I just says I'm a little late, but I still want to share my idea. Didn't finish the art, so I'll do a full pitch once that's done. Give me a classic Sonic beat 'em up game for a tribute with the villains being old Sonic bandmates put under control by Eggman. Yeah, the re-exploring of whatever would have been Sonic's band, having them as maybe like enemies in there. God, it's so weird that this would have been the world of Sonic. I feel like this franchise would not be where it is today, but the idea of re-exploring them is awesome. I fuck with that. Aegis Rings. I've always had the idea of a Dream Sonic game where it's a what if for Sonic Mania, where the Phantom Ruby corrupt Angel Island, and you have to revert the damages that the Phantom Ruby did and return Angel Island back to normal. Use some concept and finishes. Ooh, okay. So restoring Angel Island, not a bad idea. Phantom Ruby corrupting all the environments. That would almost, what's funny is that would almost harken to Mario Wonder, right? Where like you know how the Wonder Flower messes with all the environments in Mario Wonder, but like the Phantom Ruby kind of like messing up different levels you go to is actually a really sick concept. Elena says, I need to see Mephiles again. I'm certain Shadow Gens gave him a lot more lore for a reason. Mephiles should be reintroduced as the first ghost hallucination. We get glimpses of his non-existent hell. Maybe he manipulates Silver, who doesn't remember him, to bring him back. Yeah, I do. It's funny seeing like the recent resurgence of Mephiles, you know, with his appearance in Shadow Gens. He even has like a little profile picture in Crossroads, but you know, and he's even in the mobile game. So there's definitely like fans of Mephiles, and they clearly market him to an extent. But yeah, I can live with Mephiles never showing up again, but I do like the idea of exploring the nothingness of his existence, or, you know, wanting to exist again. Then we've got, I've always wanted a Shadow game where Sonic and Shadow team up to take down a threat, playing as both hedgehogs throughout the game. This is how I picture it, saying my first comic, by the way.
This creature is as dangerous as Eggman says. I'll need all the help I can get. If I'm gonna take on a mission this big, I'm probably gonna need the help of the ultimate life form.
I won't let you bait me. But Gun has their eyes on this
I
creature.
do like the idea of an
So it
actual
seems
Sonic and
like
Shadow team-up game, you know?
Very well. I'll join you. Just don't slow me down.
Yep, that's fire.
Dream of it. All right, let's do it.
Good shit, dude. Yeah. Yeah, we have not had a proper like Sonic and Shadow team-up game. You know, we've had teams where games where they're both in there, right? Like you have your Sonic Shadow Gens, you have your Sonic Heroes where they're there. Sonic shows up in some missions of you know, Shadow the Hedgehog, right? But like we don't have a game where this is Sonic and Shadow the game, which I feel like if anything makes more sense than anything in this world. Yeah, I mean, like that's the game that you'd want to see in there, right? I'm my boy Cord, of course you already know. Silver, you know, I know Cord is championing the Silver the Hedgehog game. We want this so bad. I mean, I did a whole video dedicated to your idea for a Silver future destroyed world game. Please give this to me and go watch that video and go give Corn some love, bro. Bro, you are in my mind right now, bro. A Dragon Ball and Sonic crossover fighting game would be so heat. You know it, bro. Listen, your idea would genuinely change lives. Like you do realize what you are suggesting here is life-changing. Like genuinely, truly a life-changing idea that can't even be put into this world. Otherwise, it would be too powerful. You just can't do it, man. We got my Go Cube on here saying, look, I know it won't happen, but my dream is for them to be a Sonic Ruby crossover. Whether it be in my dream, Sonic's comics animated. I need Casey Lee Williams has done songs for Sonic and went on a tour. Yeah, it's funny is I don't even think this is a far-fetched potential crossover. You know, like we had Ruby in Blaze Blue Central Fiction, or what was it, the crossover game. And so Blaze Blue, if Blaze Blue can have Ruby, I feel like Sonic and Ruby working together is not too far-fetched. We've got DTN saying musician here, but I'd like to imagine a Sonic stage that'd fit this vibe. Let me listen to this and sort of see what idea I can come up with thinking about this. God. This song gives me like atmospheric 3D level, you know? This gives me a vibes of, what's the stage? I'm Flowing Through Time 1-2 from Sonic Frontiers. Yeah, this is the vibe this song is giving me. And, oh God, yeah, I'm with you. This is so good. Yeah, I mean, I think you all picture the same thing as me, right? Vibe, 3D level, some dope mid-level transitions and cutscenes. God, bro, I can't wait to see the next 3D Sonic game. I really just can't fucking. I can't do it anymore. We got Mashu over here. I just want a Sonic fighting game with cell shade style like the animation I made. Please, bro.
I'm so good, it hurts.
Oh my God, bro. Cell shaded Sonic, please, man, please. We haven't had a cell shaded Sonic since like what? Shuffle? Like genuinely, maybe Sonic Shuffle is the last time that happened, and you making this for fighters. God, bro, don't put this into my mind, dude. Oh. Or of this, yep, Scrub, I know exactly what you're talking about. Endless Asia, right? Or Endless Ocean, Sonic running through it, seeing the planet, friends as the stars above. God, that's an aesthetic. Oh, we've got Terios saying Sonic and Mega Man crossover. Ah, dude, I love this idea, man. I pray, right? Listen. Think about this, right? Listen, I'm just saying Sonic opened their doors to Mega Man, right? With Mega Man being in Sonic Racing Crossroads. for Sonic, for Mega Man Dual Override, a boss fight that is either straight up Sonic or a Metal Sonic boss fight. Dude, perfect. Metal Sonic boss fight where Mega Man at least beats Metal Sonic in a fight, and then you get a Sonic ability, like a Mega Man spin dash move, right? Or a homing attack. A homing attack move for Mega Man would be so sick. Yeah, dude, this. But of course, a fully fledged game between them would be the greatest thing to grace my life. So please, yes. Lamb says, there's a pretty old idea I've had, but I think a Sonic game where Sonic and the others could evolve their main abilities and be able to tame beasts like the Sonic Eagle would be awesome. Oh, beast taming Sonic. I love this. I love this idea, right? And then having each animal that each of the characters would tame, like, or like have as a JoJo stand or something. Oh, this is so sick. Like, Amy could have maybe a, what would Amy have? Like an Umbreon, like a massive, like a huge cat. That would be really cool, right? Or, you know, you can give cream and cheese sort of like a, you know, maybe a bunny, right? Like a giant bunny. Maybe some of them based on what characters there, but then you'd have like 3 hedgehog. But yeah, like Silver maybe having like a panther. Like, oh, the idea of all these characters having different animals. So that, let me know in the comments which ones you'd want. Oh, you've got Zeto. I would really like something that uses the partner mechanic from Sonic Advance 3, but in the style of Frontiers. Your combo routes could change depending on your partner. This, you know, this requires such a like talented action moveset. You know, it's hard to integrate partner moves. Now, if I was to picture in my head, I'm thinking FF7 Rebirth, right? So FF7 Rebirth introduced like the mid-combat combo system where like you would have different specials go through as you're fighting. So that's exactly what I picture when I think of what you're telling me here. Hey, Cameron says, I guess I'll drop these. I like the Solar Eclipse Sonic I did a couple years back. So Solar Eclipse Sonic, right? You've got a DS Crossroads art piece over here. Oh, there it is. Solar Eclipse Sonic with the red going through the air with Shadow standing here. Or is that Sonic? Shit, man. Whatever this is, it's fucking awesome. No, this is Sonic. I see the regular issues. Fuck. I love this. Ooh, Fish says Sonic R sequel for sure. More concept art info to talk. Hold on, bro. So damn, Sonic rerun as Sonic R sequel. Become the fastest thing alive. Sonic's back for another supercharged platform racer. Dash, spin, and blast your way through multiple wild courses and gameplay mode. 16 playable characters. Racer Sonic's friends and foes. And then 12 unique tracks. Go online. Dude, I'm telling you, man, if they did basically Sonic Rumble on a bigger scale, or even actually, no, you know who's perfectly doing this right now? Rolling Rascals. If you guys have seen Rolling Rascals, that game has an online scene, and it's literally a Sonic R sequel, effectively, right? You have big environments you're all running through, you know, you're going through these big spaces, but you're still doing a race with people. You've got your multiple playable characters. I love this. Good shit, dude. Good shit. I had a project a long time ago with Blaze. I should rework on it. Yeah. Blaze game. We all need it, man. Oh, whoa. Sonic 3D says, I made these arts a few months ago, but I really need a Fruitigo Arrow Sonic game with everything that's just arrow themed, like lush blue skies and glass theming, just like menus and how Windows Vista and so on. Yeah, it's funny. Like, this Fruitigo Arrow, fun fact, actually, the first time I heard it was Aru talking about it. But yeah, this early 2000 aesthetic of like, shiny blues, very green greens, right? Environments that are like glass and very, what the idea of what the future would be is such a good look for Sonic 2. Oh, this is what I've been working on, a One Piece inspired Sonic game project. I'll definitely post a fished artwork at the end. But okay, I see. It's funny because I've actually been watching One Piece lately, so I feel the joy here. So you've got these environments, you've got Eggman as a One Piece fan. Ooh, you got your Gear 5 Sonic. I love that idea over here. Yeah, I mean, a Sonic pirate theme would go hard. I mean, they've kind of tapped into it a little bit with Sonic Rush Adventure, but obviously an expansive version of it would go hard. A Sonic cartoon with a more episodic structure, new locations, characters from all across the franchise. The first animation is based on that idea. The other two are just fun designs I made, but I think could fit this hypothetical cartoon as well. Oh, you even made like a little animatic here. Yeah, again, we've talked about this a few times in this video, but a Sonic cartoon, please, is a must. This ain't my dream Sonic game, but it would be cool to see a new Sonic Rush game. This is the art I made in December. Yeah, it's funny, we talked about this recently because of someone else's piece earlier. Sonic Rush Imposters, where it's Shadow. It's such, this is such a sick, just bring back Sonic Rush, Sega. Like, you need to find a way to bring back these handheld games, whether it's Advance or Rush. Like, people really grew up and really love these games, so expand on them. Please bring them back. Do something. Not a Sonic game, but I dream to see Sonic Team try to experiment with different genres. A first-person shooter retelling Gamma's story from SA1, for example, since he gains upgrades throughout the story. Anyways, I think a Metroid style. Ooh, Metroid style progression for a Sonic game would be kind of hard, you know, for a first person with Gamma. Knowing them, they would probably go with Omega, because Omega's like a more popular character, so they were gonna do this, they would pick him. But I like where your head's at. A sequel to Sonic Heroes and Foes. Each teams have emeralds, 8 levels in different orders by teams with choral narrative mode. Okay, so you basically want a new Heroes. I love this idea, and I would love it, the idea of a Heroes sequel, but like, I would like if each, you know, character group had their own levels and even had like their own gameplay style instead of like reskinned versions of each other. You know what I mean? Sonic Heroes and Foes, though, love this idea, man. A 2D hand-drawn animated Sonic game. Yep, the dream right there. Apocalypse Sonic. Wow, Fallout New Mobius. Okay, I've always had this idea for a game where Sonic and his early design team pick up Epic Mickey 2-stop. It'd be like Rush, where Sonic gets teleported to a different world and has to help him stop every version of Eggman. Okay, I like that, you know, exploring a little bit of that weird dark side of Epic Mickey, of like, you know, scrapped ideas, but having, you know, Feels the Rabbit, or whatever they were going to be called, locked in and helping him out while fighting different versions of Eggman. It's pretty cool. Mario Kart Exotic Racing. It'd be a side racing game, but a collab with Mario Kart in some form. Dude, listen, I know these two games compete in the market, but it would be cool. Now, we can't see it with Sonic because Sonic Racing Crossroads is available on all platforms. But I would love if Mario Kart World had Sonic content. I mean, it's not impossible, right? We did have a Sonic costume in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, so they're not completely exempt of the idea of Sonic being in there. So I'd love to see that, please. Sonic in Wonderland, or maybe just a continuation of the Storybook series. Yeah, it's funny, like, going through everybody's ideas. The most we've seen is like fantasy Sonic, you know, more Storybook, right? It's very clear the direction people want. And that's gonna be it for the video, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you everybody who submitted their incredible ideas. Please let me know in the comment section below what were some of your favorite ideas you saw in here, and of course let me know your ideas for different Sonic games you'd like to see. Clearly the series is something people are very passionate about, and whether fan projects have done it, fan games, fan movies, animations, everything, it's very clear fans will always go out of their way to create new ideas. All right, guys, I love you. Thank you all for watching, and of course, peace out.